Hi, okay, so I hope you all enjoyed the sessions from Dr. Vincent Chen and Dr. Kenny Chua. For the final speaker for UCF's YouTube webinar series, Dr. Dorothy DeWitt will speak to us on opportunities and challenges of virtual learning in a post-pandemic era. What will happen after, say, a vaccine is found, or next year when things, well, if excitement dies down, what is the new normal going to look like? We welcome Dr. Dorothy from UM. She's very experienced in these matters. Hope you learn from her.
Virtual learning in the post-pandemic era, opportunities and challenges. Hi, I'm Dorothy from the University of Malaya, and I'll be talking on this topic and covering the pre-pandemic scenario, the change, transformation, opportunities and challenges for the future. In this scenario, before the pandemic, we had specialist rooms. We were using technologies such as PowerPoint slides, overhead projectors, using training sessions which had lots of technology being used. We use collaborative tools like Padlets and different combinations of collaborative platforms. Physical learning was still part of the norm, okay, where we have collaborative groups, but it'll be more in physical spaces, and so we still use some platforms for collaboration. But presentations and face-to-face delivery, learning management systems were used, yes, no doubt, but it was more for a blended learning environment. Okay, so this was the scenario before the pandemic. We did have in University Malaya a few weeks of e-learning weeks where we trained for emergency situation, and the real emergency occurred in 2019 when there was a bad haze in Malaysia. We had to shut down our universities and we went online. Our learning management system and video conferencing tools were the ways we communicated with our students. Then the pandemic occurred. I don't know how you felt, but my first response was, oh, I don't know what to do. Okay, and what did you think? My first few weeks, actually, what kind of action? I just sat there. Then when the university announced that they were going to be off for several weeks, okay, and after that it's totally online learning, we knew that we had to make a change. And the change that had to be made was felt in other universities all over the world. So in this article in Frontiers of Public Health, a survey of 25,000 over academics in 152 countries showed that many experienced some disruption at work. Okay, especially in South America, you see the darker colored countries in South America, they had more disruptions to their work as compared to South Korea. And what was the most common task that happened, that was done during the pandemic? Writing papers for academic purposes, for publication, okay? Continuing research, things that didn't require so much interaction with the public. But online teaching went on. And in fact, new roles, new relationships had to be explored. So instead of just using Google Meet, okay, Microsoft Teams became one of the platforms that was used constantly for interacting online because it enabled more student-centered presentation, student-generated content could be shared. Okay, there was lots of interactive discussion and chats on many related topics, and we could even explore things like doing Kahoots and interactions and gamification using Microsoft Teams. That was one of the platforms that we started with. Besides that, some of us went to other platforms, new roles and relationships, looking at Mozilla Hubs, okay, new collaborative workspaces. So we're trying lots of new technologies, designing our action plan. What are we going to do next? Okay, and among the things that we did as a community in University Malaya was that we started learning more. Okay, we started sharing our knowledge and skills. Okay, from doing online pedagogies, from using Microsoft Teams, okay, and having clinics, and even managing stress in post MCO. Okay, we had to change, we had to find ways to cope, okay, and we shared our knowledge. That was one of the ways that we did. Institutions of higher learning all over the place. The Ministry of Education also started taking action, started planning for, teaching and training lecturers how to use online tools, how to cope with this new landscape of online learning in Malaysia. There was lots of training going on, including by NUTP, okay, which came up with social distancing pedagogical model for synchronous and asynchronous instruction. So we had new roles. Students were getting mobile, okay, which was good. Lecturers were also getting mobile. Mobile phone, in fact, became the more preferred device of use rather than a laptop, which sometimes had problems with internet access and so on. Okay, however, low bandwidth was still a problem. So there was lots of new things to explore, lots of new types of interactions, new communities to build. We had to look at new ways of doing things and teaching things on new platforms. And of course, problems did occur, such as this. Suddenly everything goes blank, and then what happened? So are you able to troubleshoot technical problems? Okay. And are you able to moderate discussions that occur online? This is another skill, because it's a totally new role from being a face-to-face facilitator as compared to totally online facilitator. Technology overload. Oh no, too much technology. Everybody has technology in the homes now. You find 4, 5, 6 devices. Everyone has their own device. More time is needed both in preparing and in learning. You need to look at technical aspects, how to motivate, how to engage. But changes happened during the pandemic. Robots were used for serving food, for cooking, okay, drones for delivery, and Selangor Corps monitored whether you complied to the SOPs during Hari Raya celebrations this year using drones, okay. But drones was not something new. Aziata used in 2019 to tell someone that he loved her, okay, that he wanted to marry her during Raya time using a drone, using drone technology. Deliveries using drones. This was done last year already, okay? But pandemic caused a transformation to occur, to fast speed that transformation. If I look at what is transformative change, Mezirow has 10 phases. When you are faced with a disorientating dilemma, you need to look back and examine yourself and assess what's going to happen, what are you going to do. Once you recognize that you need to transform, you need to change, okay, especially when others have that same kind of feeling, together you can go and build new roles, new relationships, new action, like what we are doing now. So planning a course of action, getting onto online learning, getting more of the skills and knowledge, and what else do you need to implement online action plan? Okay, so new roles may need to be formed, and in order to build new roles, you need to test out your competencies and build more self-confidence as you go online. Then with everything that you have ready, your action plan gets carried out. Reintegrate into your life, looking at a new perspective. And this is very powerful because this kind of transformative change causes long and lasting learning, which we are looking at now. And reintegrating into our lives, okay, we look back at how we use Microsoft Teams. For myself, okay, we use different channels and notebook to collaborate and develop intellectually. So I think one thing that needs to change, that needed to change, was our ways of interacting. Okay, need to focus on intellectual development, building new knowledge. Okay, the knowledge community and inquiry framework is one of the methodologies, one of the theories that can help build a sense of community and an online presence. Looking at also Salmon's 5-stage model, where you ensure motivation and access and socialization. Those are the first 2 phases before you can go on to sharing of information and building new knowledge independently. So building an attitude comes first, and socialization. So there's a social presence, then only can the cognitive presence be built effectively. So looking at the situated learning perspective, the learner doesn't create knowledge in isolation. He does it so when in communities, okay, in learning communities. So learning needs to be meaningful, related to what he knows, so that he can also contribute, and this builds up self-esteem. It's related to a certain context, can be informal, but it should be based on solving a problem, and that will motivate and help learning. And this situated learning perspective doesn't mean that everyone needs to interact. Not necessary. There might be some who are not really interacting, but observing how others interact. But of course, if there's full active participation, that's fantastic. Okay, you may find that there are many lurkers. However, okay, if you give problem tasks, you can actually ensure that the learner has completed the assignment, completed the learning when the problem is solved. So, certificate of completion. Online pedagogies means you need to ensure an online presence. How do you do it? Okay, by having more interactions, quizzes, okay, interspeed the information delivery process with lots of interactions, frequent interactions. This helps build cognitive and social presence, which are important for knowledge building. Teaching presence, okay, also can be done to ensure that there's a delivery of information, but more importantly is the attitude that they build. Sometimes during online interactions, there's lots of noise going on, which is not relevant to the learning. That's okay if it's a little bit, but we want to reduce the noise. We also want to reduce teaching presence and have more on learning. So pedagogies that focus on problems, on tasks such as building wikis, web pages, posters, gathering information, building, in this case, is a storyboard so that you can get a video out, such as a video on Lumen 5, Stormboard to explore and show to others. That's how learning becomes authentic. And develop intellectual skills. So there's a variety of tools that you can use. Please refer to this webinar, okay, if you like to find out more tools that can build intellectual skills. So there's lots of opportunities now because lecturers, academics, teachers have gone on learning and being more familiar with technology. So we have practiced already online pedagogy, started to utilize more tools and started using not only blended models of learning, but hybrid models, and started even facilitating and mentoring. Okay, so if you'd like to find out more about what skills are required in mentoring, in discussion forums, look out for my article coming out in Pertanika, where we do actually go into the skills required for online mentoring and discussions, online moderation, opportunities for new pedagogies using virtual worlds, using virtual reality. Okay, and this has become more accepted. Parents, teachers, okay, lecturers, students are now more accepting of new technologies and hybrid models. Looking at this article, the insight from higher education, the authors found when they investigated this in MIT, among MIT lecturers, face-to-face and the screen-to-screen format, we're now at screen-to-screen format. There was suddenly a heightened interest in teaching. Lecturers and academics certainly were interested in teaching because they found out that attendance at faculty meeting improved at the faculty meetings because people were more engaged trying to find out what are the best tools to use for their teaching. And there was a responsibility for or to their students. They wanted to make sure that students could still learn as well, even though they were not seeing them face to face. Okay, and they were starting to relearn ways of teaching online because there was no prior experience on this new hybrid form of teaching. Okay, and there were new assessment methods now being considered, group projects, oral assessment. However, it did also lead to added stress, added workload, and also problems in lab work. This is not the end. The pandemic is not over, and there are possibly more threats in the future. The frontiers in public health also considered lecturers and academics' reactions, and they found that they feared future pandemics. Climate change is another issue. Okay, there will be other times where we are faced with such challenges, and are we ready? Do we have the infrastructure? Internet, broadband, both the connectivity in the backbone in the country and the last mile in all the individual places right to your homes. Ownership of devices. Do we have sufficient devices? Are they mobile? Okay, do they have high processing speeds and memory? Are they equipped with proper cameras and microphones? Are there policies on use of devices in the institutions at home? Okay, what kind of information security and privacy is needed, and other cybersecurity issues? What if this information can be hacked? There are also challenges such as, does it fit in with the mission and vision of the educational institution? The technology that's being used, the institution, does it support to the management, support the use of this technology? Is there sufficient training and development, not only in the use of tools, but also in the pedagogy that's involved and other support during the use? So transformative change is upon us and may continue to be upon us. Disruptive technologies have been in use all the while and will continue to disrupt our world. Disorientating dilemmas will continue to be there, more than just COVID-19. However, take advantage of this transformation, because with this transformation, there are opportunities for powerful learning and change. Good luck with your transformation. Feel free to contact me and share your views.
So I hope that all of you have enjoyed this series of speakers. Do subscribe to our channel, give us a like if you enjoyed the talks. Do visit our website, UCF's website, which has been in the slides so far, and give us a call. UCF is the foremost international baccalaureate teacher training institution in Southeast Asia. Our programs include bachelor degrees, postgraduate diplomas, and master's degrees, and we have a forthcoming doctorate in education. It's been great hosting all of you. Stay safe. Take care.